The bids are in. The gavel is dropped. Ladies and gentlemen, here at WineBid, we are finally hammered. That's right. This is WineBid's podcast, taking all things wine value, wine retail, wine auctions, and just wine. My name is Jeff McKern on the WineBid marketing team. With me, as always, is our wine expert, Paul, the Paladin of Palomino Walker. Welcome to the show, Paul. So great to have you, as always.
Oh, well, thank you for continuously inviting me.
Yeah. Well, one of these days your luck may run out. You just need to treat me right. Okay. Today we're going to be going through not everything, but some of the really interesting stuff that we saw happen at the auction that closed yesterday, April 21st, Sunday, April 21st, 2024. Auction closed at 7 p.m. Pacific time. And there's some interesting stuff that happened. Let's jump right into this, right? So we had some really big movers. Care to guess what the biggest mover is, Paul? Do you?
Let's see. Biggest mover in last night's hammer.
Oh, don't be looking right now.
I'm not. I'm actually kind of scrambling to look at the data from last night's auction anyway. But okay, let me give you a couple hints. Was it a single bottle?
There were 3 bottles, but they were sold individually. So it was 3 bottles in this lot, but it was not sold together as a 3-bottle lot.
Okay.
5 individually. It was a French wine. It was not Burgundy.
Really? It wasn't Bordeaux, was it?
No.
Was it from the Jura or something?
No. Champagne.
Oh, interesting.
90.
These like old school releases.
95 Drapier Blanc de Blanc.
That's so funny. I was staring right at it. I was like, oh, there's another one of those wines that we probably had never seen before.
It went for started at 50, hammered at $111, 22%.
It's just like, of course, I'm forgetting the wine. There was a wine last week that was, from like a larger producer that was kind of the same thing. It was like an old release that got bid way up. This one's not that old. I mean, mid-90s, I guess. To me, it's not old. But
well, I just want to point out that I actually called this one. This was one of my picks, right? And
you expected it to do this well at auction?
I did. I called it out. It's the finely hammered effect. Sometimes people are listening to what I have to say. That's all I'm saying. And it had nothing to do with the fact that it is a sought-after producer and $50 was criminally low for 95 Drapier. That was it. It was 100% me. I take full responsibility for the
Well, it's funny, it's kind of interesting that we actually haven't seen this wine before because it had to have been released sometime in the late 90s, early 2000s. So I'm surprised that it's never come through the door because it probably wasn't exceedingly rare back when it was released. At least I can't imagine it was, but
it is now. Care to guess number 2, numero dos, coming in at 100% increase. This one probably a little bit more expected.
I'm going to guess it was like some older Burgundy or something.
Yeah. 95 Ramonet.
Okay. Yeah. Because we talked about how this is a way to get into Ramonet for under $30. But even then,
yeah.
But there were examples. There were examples that sold for less than 45. So
no. This one started at 1. This is the Puligny Montrachet Champs-Canet.
Okay.
135 went to 270.
Okay, so that's not surprising because Ramonet, Premier Cru Ramonet, it's very, very tricky to find. So I'm not surprised. But the Bourgogne Blancs didn't cost too much. So if you were trying to get into Ramonet for under 50, you still could.
And then we had this 93 Domaine Michel Gros Richebourg, which started at 380, hammered at 752, right? 97.89% increase, jumping up.
Yeah, that was one of my picks. And it seemed to me, that was quite a great red vintage in Burgundy. And so that's a rare one. Not terribly surprising.
85% increase. And one that I actually really like this one, the 14 Rust in Vried Stellenbosch Estate Vineyard Syrah went from 20 to 37. That stuff, I believe, retails for a bit closer to the 37 mark, $20.
Yeah.
I actually saw that and almost bought a bunch of it because I was like, $20 seems really cheap for rust.
Yeah,
and
it's 10 years old. And yeah, I mean,
that stuff's really good. I bought a couple cases of some rust Syrah back in the day. It's a really good one. We've got 72% increase on the Ramonet Bourgogne Blanc from 05.
Yeah, we were just talking
that's the one 25 to 43. You were
that's
under 30.
That's not bad. I wonder how good that wine is now. It'd be interesting I'm curious to try one, but that's not a terrible price.
Yeah, and both of the Bourgogne Blancs went up to 42, 43. So, probably not entirely surprising. The 18 Forstmeister Geltz Zilliken Salzburg Burger Rausch Riesling Auslese. That went from 25 to 41 for a 64% increase. And then this 85 Casa Vinicola Piemontese Barola Seracquio up 63% from 30 to almost 50, 49.
Yeah, I mean, 30 for an 85 Barolo from anyone seems pretty darn reasonable.
Even 50 for an 85 Barolo from anyone seems reasonable. I'm actually a little bit surprised it didn't go up a little bit higher than that.
I wonder too, Vinicola Pinot, I wonder if it was from a co-op too, because there were quite a few of those back in the day, and the wines were not expensive, but now obviously kind of tricky to find. So that's kind of an interesting one.
This is going to sound crazy, but this is probably the one that surprised me the most. Was this 07 Lopez de Heredia Rioja Vina Bosconia Reserva. So that we see that all the time, right?
Yeah.
Like this is, I mean, it's, I wouldn't say it's it's not like super duper common. Like you're not going to go into every grocery store and find it, but it's not super rare either. Like that's one you can find at auction pretty regularly. And it usually hovers right around that $35 mark. But this last week, 2 different bottles shot up to $55.
Yeah, that's weird.
Is this a market adjustment for Lopez de Heredia? I don't know, but
yeah, because it hasn't been in since late 2023 or October, I should say, 2023. Maybe it's just kind of like enough out of the market now that, it's become more sought after, more rare. I don't know. It's a good question, but that is a big jump from October. That's not too long ago.
No, that's not too long at all. And then the last one I'll bring up from the big movers is the 95 Chateau de la Maltroie Chassagne Montrachet La Dent de Chine. That one went up from 60 to 90 for a 50% increase.
All right, I don't mean to laugh at your pronunciation, but you didn't, it was okay. Don't Chien, it's the dog's teeth. Yeah, no, the mid 90s, good to great white vintage and very hard to find, and especially at under $100 these days, even for a producer that's not top tier or even second tier, if you will. Yeah, that is a big jump, especially when there's 7 bottles to go around. So yeah, I mean,
7 bottles to go around, big jump. I mean, just some really interesting movement in the market. Let's talk about some really sort of unique and interesting lots. I thought it was cool. We saw the 59 Mouton that actually moved at $22.95. The 3 liter of 1988 Lafite Rothschild went for $2,005. I actually didn't think that price was too crazy for a 3 liter. I mean, not the most epic vintage, but
it's good. 88 was really good. It's really good.
It's still really good stuff.
Yeah.
99 Coche de Riz Merceau for $19.45. And then actually this 3-bottle wood case of 1982 Diamond Creek Mags, a horizontal case, that went for $15.55. I thought that one, I've been sort of watching that. I thought that's cool. A lot of large format stuff, 86 Mouton Mag for $15.50.
Yeah, that was another one of my Mouton picks, that 59 and the 86 Mag. I mean, it's such a great wine and harder to find in large format these days. So yeah, not surprised.
Absolutely. 2000 Aubryon Mag for $15.10. This 95 Robert Arnault Romani Saint Vivant Mag,
yeah,
$14.50.
Was there one or two of those. I want to say there were two, but yeah, that was another one of my picks from last week because I'd never seen that bottle before in large format in auction, at least for the 95. So that was a great one.
This 1981 auction Napa Valley lot 391 of Diamond Creek 3 Vineyard Blend November pick 3 liter.
Yeah, and I think that was in that giant Diamond Creek feature we were talking about a few weeks ago. So it took a few weeks to roll or to sell, I should say.
It got two bids. Actually, it went from $1,285 to $1,385.
Yeah, somebody was watching it and then put a bid in and then got outbid. That's
and then got out, but they could have grabbed it weeks ago.
Exactly, the same price. That happens a lot, especially everything else kind of sells out, and then suddenly that bottle is like the super rarity because there's nothing else like it in the auction. So
almost the same. 97 Stag's Leap cast 23 5 liter for $1,040.
I'm not looking at it. Did that get bid up from Reserve? No, because I think there was a mag too, but yeah, there's been some large format California stuff that seems pretty fair, and that didn't seem too bad.
This is one we were talking about. We were talking about this one last week or the week before.
I think it was before that. Yeah,
before that. So this has been sitting around for a few weeks. The 09 3-liter Montrachet for $900. I didn't think that was too bad. The 67 Dechem sold for $770. That's a cool lot.
Yeah, that's not bad.
87 Diamond Creek Lake sold for $690, and then this 98 Arajo Estate Isley Vineyard Cabernet Sauvignon Mag sold for $680. Let's talk weekly winners before we wrap up here. So really quickly, 16 Ascendo Sellers Cab 3-bottle lot, $735. That's a high. Previous high we saw was $677 in 2021. So cool. A little bit of movement there. 16 Mouton for $765, highest in 12 months. So we did see another hammer last year in June at $783, but it seems to have gone down and creeping back up. And then this 18 Dow Patrimony Cabernet Sauvignon 3-bottle lot OWC for $660.
Yeah, that's an interesting one.
Dow, huh?
Yeah, from Tasso Cabernet. Yeah. So what's that? $220 a piece. That's expensive. That's got to be one of the more expensive Cabernets from Paso Robles for sure.
It's getting not cheap. There.
Not cheap.
It's getting up there. We talked about the Domaine Michel Gros Richebourg. That was a high. The 18 Dominus Mag for $645. Previous high was at $597.
Yeah, that's kind of surprising because the 750s of recent vintages, well, especially 17, it was a tougher year, but 18 and 19 as well are not, they're not going for over 300. So the mag at 645 is pretty surprising. That's a big number, but hard, it's it was relatively easy to find Dominus in 750 at retail. I don't think they're really placed in much retail anymore like they used to be. And so now it's harder and harder to find the wine, period. And especially large formats. So that's an impressive hammer. 16
Lacoya Hell Mountain Cabernet Sauvignon 3-bottle OWC, $890 was the high for us.
Yeah, that's still less than winery cost. That stuff's so expensive now. I think it's over 300 a piece. So you're still making out better at auction for that wine.
Absolutely. 97 Tignanello Mag OWC 440 was what we sold it for. Previous high was 398. So even the Tignanello seems to be pretty popular recently. I feel like I see that creeping up.
And again, try finding another mag of 97. So it's been out of market for a long time. That's a fantastic. It was a very, very ripe vintage in Tuscany, but this wine was really, really good. The 98 was in last week too, not in large formats, but that wine's fantastic. Anyway. Yeah, that's a good hammer.
09 Paul Roger Somerson Churchill Mag for $550. That's a high.
Really, this wine is becoming more valuable because we keep talking about how good of a deal it is.
That's the only reason. It's just talking about it. It's the finally
exactly.
It's the 7 bots that listen to our podcast. They come by it. They hear it. The word gets out, I'll mention this one last one before we wrap up. 71 Ramonet Lucini 575. Previous high was 500 in 2023.
That's an interesting bottle. I don't think we've probably sold many of those, if ever. Great red vintage in Burgundy. And, Ramonet is a big negociant producer. The wines are varying quality depending on what you're looking for. But for Musigny from that vintage, that's, I hate to say it, but that's not a terrible price. So
not a terrible price. All these bottles closed at auction this week, but there's still a ton of stuff left in auction. So we highly recommend you go and take a look at everything we've got. In fact, we're going to be giving you a code. Since Paul is the Paladin of Palomino, if you use the word Paladin, Paladin, when you check out, you'll get $15 off, purchase $150 or more. And that is only good for this auction week. And that's the auction ending on the 28th of April, 2024 at 7 p.m. Pacific time. This has been Jeff McGurn and Paul Walker for WineBid's Finally Hammered, wishing you happy bidding and cheers.
Cheers.